Good morning, students. It's 13th of April, and today we are going to start lesson number 2 of chapter number 11. I want you all to open your textbooks, page 494. On this page, we have the topic, How do forces affect motion? When a batter hits a baseball, he or she applies a force. Other forces are at work too. Means whenever we apply some force on an object, like as the batter is applying as the batter is hitting the baseball, he is applying some force on the baseball. So this is what the first force. There will be gravitational force also. There will be frictional force also. So how all these forces affecting the movement of the ball, how all these forces affecting the motion. Here we are going to discuss this thing. In this topic, we are going to learn about balanced forces and unbalanced forces. When you put a heavy backpack on your desk, the backpack does not move. When you put your backpack on the desk, it will not move. Why it doesn't move? Because gravity pulls the backpack towards earth, but your desk is in the way. The desk pushes up on the backpack with a force. When you put your backpack on the desk, it is pulled towards the earth. It is pulled towards the ground because of force of gravity. Now the desk is in between. The desk will exert some force on the backpack in upward direction. Now the gravitational force is pulling it downward, and the force from the desk is pushing it upward. So these two forces are equal. If these two forces are equal, the bag will not move. The desk pushes up on the backpack with a force. The strength of that force is exactly equal to the pull of gravity. The force with which the desk is pushing the backpack will be equal to the gravitational force. So these two forces are balanced and the bag will not move. We describe these two forces as balanced. If both of these forces are equal, so we will call this balanced forces. Balanced forces are forces that cancel each other out when acting together on a single object. Means balanced forces are all those forces which cancel out each other's effect. Means both the forces are equal and they are in opposite directions, so they will cancel out each other, and we call this balanced force. Each force is equal in size and opposite in direction. They will be equal in size but opposite in direction. Balanced forces do not cause a change in motion. Why? Because they are balanced. They are cancelling out each other, so the object will not move. There will be no change in its motion. When an object is sitting still, all the forces acting on it are balanced. Now, in the picture below, if the puppies pull with equal force, the ring does not move. The forces are balanced. If both of these puppies are pulling it with equal force, so they will be balanced force. The ring will not move. If one puppy pulls harder, the ring moves towards him. So that will be unbalanced force. Now on the next page, we have unbalanced forces. Unbalanced forces, suppose you push that heavy backpack across the desk. There is friction between your backpack and the desk. Now, in the example of the backpack and the desk, if you pull the backpack across your desk, what will happen? The backpack and the desk, they are in contact with each other. Two objects rub each other, so there will be force of friction between them. Now, friction we have discussed early on. There is friction between your backpack and the desk. The force of friction is weaker than your push. How can you tell the backpack moves? Now, when you are pushing the backpack, the force of friction is less than your push, so the bag will move, because these are unbalanced forces. The force with which you push is more, and the force of friction is less, so the bag will move. Forces that are not equal to each other are called unbalanced force. This is the definition. You must underline and you must learn the definition. Forces that are not equal to each other, as we have discussed over here. Forces that are not equal to each other are called unbalanced forces. Unbalanced forces unbalanced forces cause a change in motion. Of course, when the forces are unequal, they are unbalanced, so it will cause the motion. The greater force determines the direction of motion. Means the motion will be in the direction of the greater force. Unbalanced forces can affect an object's direction, speed, or both. Means unbalanced forces, they can affect the direction of the object, the speed of the object, or it can affect both of them. Over 300 years ago, the English scientist Sir Isaac Newton told how force and motion are related. There was a very great scientist, Sir Isaac Newton, over maybe 300 years ago. He explained the relation between force and motion. Today, we measure the force in metric units called newtons. The unit of force in the metric system is Newton, and symbolized as capital N. Now, weight and force. You may recall that the Newton is also a metric unit for weight. How are weight and force related? Now, weight is the unit of force also. Newton is the unit of weight also, and Newton is the unit for force also. So, force and weight, they are related to each other. An object has weight because the force of gravity pulls on the object. Here we say that weight is because the force of gravity is pulling it down. There is force of gravity on the object. Why there is force of gravity on the object? Because of the weight of the object. Therefore, we say that weight is a force. Like all forces, it is also measured in newtons. Dear students, this is all for today. We continue the topic inshallah by tomorrow.